I am feeling like there's a big door that's ready to open. And I'm gonna open it.
I feel like I've been in a dark room stumbling around looking for something and not knowing there was a door. This is something that I'm going to reflect on because I know that I can't continue without that door.
I am determined to deal with things that I have not dealt with well in my past. I feel like this is just going to help all that.
We are more than our thoughts. Our mind is more than our thoughts. When we stand in that space between thoughts, when our mind is in that state, it's saying, I'm open to learning something new. And then I hear something. Something emerges from the nothing. Something emerges from nothing. We witness something come to mind where nothing was there before, except in the body, in feelings. Your true self freedom. Last week, we talked about cosmic consciousness. If I had asked you to define cosmic consciousness, heaven knows what you would have come up with. But when you told me your Isaac Stern story, it was very easy for you to do it. So the only thing I had to do was affirm that you already have that capacity, that the purpose of our work together is for you to have more access to it. Your true self, which you defined, not me. We're not doing theoretical work here. You define your true self. You define pure consciousness. You define cosmic consciousness based on experiences you have already had. So we want more of these experiences, but you already know what to look for because you've already had such experiences. This is not a mystery. So the homework assignment was to give you an opportunity to pay more attention to your true self by pausing, discerning, and reflecting. 3 parts to the assignment. So now let's listen to your homework reports, divided into the 3 sections. Section 1, you paused. Be sure to tell us where you were when you paused, at least one of the examples. Oh, I was brushing my teeth, I was sitting at the breakfast table, whatever. Give us the context. Then describe what happened when you paused. Then part 2, tell us what you discerned when you paused, after you paused, and then tell us your thoughts about what you discerned and your takeaways from the exercise.
I felt nudges to pause. Instead of making conscious decisions, I sensed the tap on my shoulder. Like, this would be a good place to pause. The one that I'll choose to share was we came back from 2 weeks of vacation. Some spent in upstate New York with our grandson. Some spent at the ocean in Cayucas. Coming back that Saturday and then starting work on Monday, although Monday's my usual day off. I worked on Monday and I felt the whole week caving in on me. Like all of a sudden, I went from this wonderful state of mind where I really felt refreshed, and all of a sudden, all of these responsibilities that I had laid aside were now, I was tripping over them. And it put me into a bad mood. I wasn't connected with my true self at all. I was getting annoyed easily, snapping at George, my husband, with unfair to him, just really short answers like, just just do this, or really unfair. But I lost my vacation really early, so that's what I noticed. That's just the pause. I'm sorry it's so long. Let me shorten this up a bit. What I discerned was that disconnection, and I knew almost immediately what it was. And I could easily reach for that and grab onto it and say, okay, yes, I choose this instead. So an apology erupted. I'm getting good at recognizing when I'm not connected to my higher consciousness, and I am less and less often insisting that it's important that I express whatever is making me angry. I'm choosing that connection more than I'm choosing the ego. Do I want to say ego? The release or the insistence. There's no insistence to keep my justice. I need justice, It's more, I need love. Should they? Yes, they should be together, woven together, right? But yeah. And that's the meaning that I made from it. Is that choosing love is of greater value to me and to my healing of the world than me trying to acquiesce to this whatever needs hearing. Whether it's my inner child or my frustrated wife or my minister that needed more vacation, whatever piece of me was frustrated, they're all sitting in agreement that love is a better choice.
What happened for me was that I found myself pausing all the time, which the side benefit of that made me much more mindful. And so I felt like I was paying much closer attention to everything, really. So my first day, Monday, I was with my grandson, which of course just, is all good all the time. And my pause was, he has a swing on the patio, and I was swinging him, and it just, it's actually going to make me cry. It makes me so content. Um, and I just am so hopeful and excited about our relationship as he grows up. And then on Thursday, I had to drive to Chico because the nephew was graduating, and I was just stunned at the beauty of the landscape. And then when we got to Chico, we went out to a very nice restaurant, and it was so delicious and so happy, and it was just a very lovely experience. And I just made myself pay attention, be very mindful and pay attention to the details and just soak it all in and like really feel that comfort and that loveliness of it. And I love food anyway, so it was just really nice. So that's the beginning and the end.
So I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed about this. So I set my alarm to go off every morning at 7:30 because I knew that it was a time where I could stop. And I'm usually sitting right here in this chair. And so it was, a lot of the feelings were pretty much the same, and not great, although not surprising. This is stuff that I knew. So on Monday, that was a day where I needed to be in two places at once, and I had to choose, and both were really important. So I was feeling stress. So when I stopped, the feeling that I felt was hurried, nervous, and anxious. Um, then on Tuesday, I felt frustrated and overwhelmed. Um, I think just so much work to do, and yeah, just feeling the weight of that. On Wednesday, I felt angry. I think there was uh, something about work and not being appreciated, and that it was on my mind, and so I put that I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to be everything for everybody, and that it's just hurting me. And I was very aware of that. It's like this, I shouldn't be feeling this at like 7:30 in the morning. So it sounds all negative, but these are things that I've been working on. I know, and this just really, really confirmed it for me. I know that I need to do self-care, and that a lot of things are getting in the way of that. And it's just coming through as stress, and um, yeah, it's just getting in the way.
Good work. Good work. You presented the results of your homework assignment. You heard the other presentations. What questions come to mind now? What are you thinking about? What are your responses as I statements? Where are you now? If I've asked the wrong question, answer the right one.
I hear joy in other people's experiences, and I know that joy is possible.
Why it has to be so hard to be connected to your true self. Why does it have to be hard? Can't we just be there all the time?
Several thoughts come to mind. First, Thomas Merton, in one of his letters, said, "It's impossible to be human and not know anguish." And then he said, "I wonder if I'm crazy." And then when he was in the hospital, he said, am I falling in love with a nurse? I found his correspondence so helpful because all of the person came forward. I find your comments so helpful because all of your experiences come forward. And I suspect that some of the persons we admire most seem to have conquered their struggles and are in this place more often than not. And thus, again, my delight in finding that Merton was still struggling as well. Not as delight, but as encouragement. Why can't we be in this space all the time? We can be, more often than not. So our work is to discern when we're not in the space, and then instead of chastising us for not being in that space, hold on to our hand as if we are a child we adore and pull her back into the space. How do we pull ourselves back into the space without judgment? So the next set of exercises we're going to do are more exercises to strengthen our ability to pull us back into our true self. The framework for this is slightly shift in perspective from the work that we've been doing so far. When you pause, discern, and reflected, when you told us your Isaac Stern stories, you told us the stories from the perspective of your bodies, what you felt. So this was cosmic consciousness, the true self from the standpoint of the body. I feel, I experience. You can make those kinds of statements because you have, well, bodies, emotions, sensations. But we also have minds. And minds in this way do not create joy, they notice joy. They do not create sensation, they notice sensations that have been felt by the body. So, to increase the ability to pull the child back into the state of pure experience, the mind has to be aware of when it's not in that state without judgment. Otherwise, you're smacking your grandchild. I demand that you're happy. Flogging will continue until your morale improves. So, we focused on pure consciousness, cosmic consciousness, from the standpoint of the body. And now we're going to focus on cosmic consciousness from the standpoint of the mind. What in the world does that mean? My brother is 4.5 years older than I am. And growing up, we always fought. Several years ago, I went to visit him, flew into the airport to visit him in Chicago. And I was aware of the fact that whenever we were together as adults, we still argued all the time. He provoked outrage in me. So now, after years of therapy and feeling that I was a settled soul, I decided that no matter what went on during the 2 or 3 days I was going to spend with him, I would not argue with him. If he provoked outrage in me, I would not express it. So as we walked toward his car, he provoked raging outrage in me. And I was totally furious. I was livid. But all the thousands of dollars I'd spent on analysis and meditation and everything else, I said, if you express outrage, you will have wasted all of your money. So I said, okay. Besides that, you will indicate to me that you are not a healthy person. This was not the higher voice speaking, but I heard the message. So I said, still walking to the airport, to his car, and he wouldn't shut up. I said, okay, what am I going to do? And I said, okay, I will count to 100 before I say anything. Now we were in his car. 54, 55, 56. And at 64, I started to cry. Those kind of tears that simply fall from your eyes and you're surprised that they're there. Stunned, I wanted to know the source of the tears. And I discovered that my anger was not toward my brother, but toward my parents. My anger went away, and I had a grand time with my brother as my brother. So I paused by counting to 100. Then my awareness discerned, what's going on here? Why is this woman crying? I hadn't a clue. But I stayed in that state of awareness without a thought until a thought came to mind, a revelation. We are going to explore the capacity of the mind to stay purely present and aware without a thought